funding impacts, it does require local staff for expediting, which we can't afford at present ourselves. Fred Hill Materials under the law may provide the funding necessary to provide the staffing for this. But as you may be aware, Fred Hill Materials is currently doing something along these lines for the environmental impact work for their current county applications. And throughout the course of this year, the county has really had to carry a substantial balance on those expenditures. Compensation, repayment has not always been prompt, and I'm not prepared to recommend that we carry that practice forward. In addition, my sense is in the case of this project that advocacy is not necessarily needed. The project is getting strong staff support from the county already. Michelle Farfan is here. She's been dedicated significantly. I don't believe that there have been significant holdups at this county or state level on permit processing. I think our lines of communication with the state and internally are open and effective. So there's little evidence that this project is currently being delayed such that it would require expedite. Finally, I'd like to call attention to part of what the report from Community Development says in terms of how the state views a project of statewide significance nomination by the county. If you turn to the bottom of page 2 of their memo, it says the staff, DCD staff, contacted the State Department of Commerce on July 16, 2009, and as of that date, no projects have been submitted to be this is statewide, to be designated as a project of statewide significance. Commerce, the Department of Commerce, does not believe an applicant must wait until the rules are established since ESSB 5473 has emergency provisions. Commerce staff believes the intent of the bill is to expedite projects with local support that may be having difficulty with state and federal processes. A letter of approval from Jefferson County would need to be signed by the BOCC and shall state that the jurisdiction joins in the request for the designation of project of statewide significance and hire professional staff that will be required to expedite the process necessary to complete the project of statewide significance. Commerce cannot review a proposal without a letter from the local jurisdiction. In communication with Commerce staff on July 16, 2009, Commerce interprets the letter of approval to mean that the local jurisdiction joins the applicant and is in essence a co-applicant on the project. So this idea, there is a risk potentially that in nominating a project, it's not simply for expedition, but it's also one of co-applicants and also advocacy. And a concern, hard to measure, but a concern for a project such as this is that the designation of even the term of the project of statewide significance carries with it a presumption of this has got to happen. And with the issues that are still under review with this, I think my sense is that we want to make sure that we're not in any subtle way tipping the scales of how the project is reviewed for its potential impacts on Hood Canal species, habitat, and water quality, the impacts, if any, to the Hood Canal bridge operations or to Navy operations. Then finally, it strikes me that you know, nominating a project as a project of statewide significance is a rare thing. As I mentioned, I don't believe there have been any, at least in recent years, statewide. Jefferson County has other projects that may, in the future, qualify for this kind of nomination, one of which is the Hadlock wastewater system. Certainly well over $10 million of investment would be necessary for that. It would potentially qualify as a project yielding significant environmental benefits. Recall that is one of the new categories that have been added. Why would it potentially create environmental benefit? Well, number one, it's getting septic systems into a much cleaner technology. Number two, the technology that's being used is not just normal wastewater treatment, but it's biomembrane treatment, which is treatment to an extraordinarily high standard. Number three, this is in an area of the Chimacum Basin, which is subject to the State Department of Ecology's proposed in-stream flow rule, where flows in to Chimacum Creek are being proposed to be highly regulated. This project would potentially inject the outflow of the clean outflow from the plant back into groundwater to help recharge to a certain extent the flows in the stream, a salmon stream with endangered species in it. So that's a project that sounds like it may be a good candidate down the road. Number two, we currently in our comprehensive plan have made plans for the Brennan Master Plan Resort. Less clear whether this project would qualify, but it might. And this may be one that you would want to consider in the future. And it too would qualify as a development project with environmental benefits. Statesman has proposed to develop the project under LEED's standard for environmental building. So, and that's specifically mentioned in the RCW as amended by this bill in this state legislature last session. So, at present, this is just a report to you. I'm not bringing any actions to you today. My sense is this is something that I'm not proposing to carry any further at this point for board action. So this is more in nature of just a report to you. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them at this time.
Pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for the research, and we'll have a chance to read it.